right, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's another fun-filled day, and it is Happy to Hump Day, and the Federal Reserve is doing its thing at the same time. So it's going to be entertainment all the way around in the financial universe. Definitely something to enjoy, that's for sure. Let's check our sound, see how our sound is going. Why don't I hear me? That didn't seem to work. Let's try that again. And now we got a commercial. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. Skip the doodah. Oh, yes, there we go. Now I can hear me. All right. All right. Technology at its best. It's a hell of a lot. It's like doing the morning rotation in an options trading pit. All right. That's another little conversation we could always have about. Yeah, we used to do opening rotation. That was always entertaining. So what happens in normal pits, because it's only one product, you know, you're trying to size up a bid and an offer so that it can open up the pit, you know, or the specialist post or the crowd or whatever, depending on what you call your place on a trading floor back in yesteryear. And an options floor, you have so many different strike prices and so many orders, and you got to make sure that you're filling all the orders as it's opening up. So in other words, it's lots of different little products there. You know, different strike prices. Now we're back to those 5 scary words in options: strike price and call and put, premium and expiration. Those are the 5 scary words in options. Don't worry about the Greeks. They've been around for thousands of years. You don't have to worry about the Greeks. But when it comes to the basics, those 5 words seem to shake up things. Anyway, let's get rolling along. It seems like a nice quiet day to start off with. I only see a few bodies in the house. And let's go with, where are we at here? There's the euro, as you can see right there. Let's see what it looks like on J4X. You can see we are hanging around in here for the last couple of days. Now, why isn't there a green line for that buy? It's funny how it closes itself out, or we lose it, or something like that. There it is right there. And so we've been in a buy since that day right there, but actually towards the close of this one and then going into the next day. So in some aspects it's right there really. But it doesn't matter. Day more or day less, as far as I'm concerned, is irrelevant. You can see our time manifold, the white line is trapped in the middle there, but on the plus side. And our histogram is going on a 3rd week of looking like very low thrust, you know. I think I might start. In many ways, I want to compare that to the CMEs off of our sun. So, very interesting. I was reading a really good article today about Saturn, you know, being the 2nd largest body in the solar system after Jupiter. And, well, I mean, you know, relative to the sun, of course. And how they still, you know, they're thinking, you know, it's a brown dwarf, obviously. And that means it's a very, very teeny-weeny little sun. You know, so we had a dual sun system at one point here in our solar system. Almost a triple when you have Jupiter thrown into the mix. But, you know, wondering if in the next 25 years that Saturn might kick on again. The article didn't talk about that, but we're getting ready to move from one position in our galaxy to the next. It happens every about 12 to 13,000 years. And it looks like we're no more than 20 some odd years away, and that's why you see Betelgeuse up in the sky, going in and out very oddly, because it's a little ahead of us in that situation. Was it 700 light years ahead or something like that? And so I think we're seeing light from like the 1600s from Betelgeuse. So it's kind of making me think about some crazy ideas there. Since we don't have anybody asking any questions and it doesn't seem like anybody's hanging out at the moment, we'll just let Doc ramble for a while into the markets and match the physics with the trading. And so, like I said, you can see here that the histogram has really become docile. It's almost like the way our sun is. And we're just coming out of what they call solar minimum. And we have an 11-year cycle in the sun. And you got to wonder how much this has the same event. There was this technician, and he's still around. I don't see him as successful because we've been going through solar minimum. But what he did is he commingled the CMEs off of the sun those explosions where you see those explosions occur, those things haven't been happening for a long while now. You know, we've been in solar minimum for 11 years, and it's gotten really slow. And so his technical analysis is really, really less accurate. And so he's almost disappeared. But 10 years ago and 15 years ago, he was on the TVs and he was in the newspapers all the time. He's an Israeli market technician, and he was always doing things. And I'm just wondering, and when I look at my work, I'm wondering, you know, it's starting to match the CME, you know, because I follow that pattern every day. I watch the sun's pattern from all the nice new electrical telescopes that we've put up in our orbit and so forth, and we can monitor it. And it's very curious to see CME, see the euro go into this docile state here. That's kind of interesting just to seeing that. We should go back and look and see when's the last time we've seen something like that. You can see here towards this basis bottom, you know, when it, and I guess you could say it went down and then up and then down. That was very tight in there. And then a fourth one, which was tight again. And that was the beginning of another exciting move. And so we were in a weekly sell here. We went into a weekly buy there. We went to a weekly sell here. Went weekly buy there. Weekly sell here. And a weekly buy there. So it was 5 weeks of this incredibly docile situation. And then you got a really interesting move out of it. You know, we went into that weekly buy. Let's scrunch that up so you can see it all. Why don't we see that? Where is it at? There it is, right there. So let's scrunch it up from there. There we go. And you can see we went into this weekly buy here and it just stayed consistent. And you had some shallowness out of it, and it just missed it there. But it just kept on rolling along. And now we are, as you can see on the spreadsheet, 17 weeks in a weekly buy. And what I'm wondering is, you know, by looking at that time manifold right there, are we seeing a warning that we're coming out of this docile spot and getting ready to turn up again? Just checking in. Hey, Giannis, how you doing? Nothing has gone wrong technically for the stream in a while. Seems even suspicious. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Anything's possible. But I guess the worst case is it'll be a lot of people from the video side of it, you know. I notice when I go back and look at the videos once in a while, I don't do it all the time, just once in a blue moon. You know, I do see that there's an increase in the amount of people following it. You know, they go and tune in a second time around. So I'll just keep on rolling along, and then maybe some you know, whatever streaming situation occurs. You know, there's so much rebel activity in the the social media here in the United States over the last 24 to 48 hours that anything is possible. You know, supposedly the thespians, the movie actors and actresses, are rebelling at the moment. They think that they need to be heard, and they believe that they are the leadership of our philosophy and idealism, and that's been on the financial channels the last few hours actually, and so they're all boycotting the like a YouTube, and they're boycotting Facebook and a bunch of these other things. So anything is possible at this point. That someone hit a switch and said this guy talks too much about reality, and he's not willing to admit that we're the geniuses of all that. Just turn it off? Turn what off? Yeah, that's what, oh, you mean turn off the media. Yeah, no. I just saw a statistic again this morning that 90% of the I guess it's the 6 media companies, which equate to 90% of our public media, are owned by all owned by the same Democrat group. So in other words, there's 6 like-minded Democrats that control 90% of our media. Either do I. I don't pay attention to him. Matter of fact, I was kind of laughing at what he was saying. It was like, oh my God, what a child. And he wants to be considered a leader of our fabric of society. And I was like, my God, the guy's talking like an idiot. So I don't know. something about Orlando Bloom and Kate Perry and one of the Kardashian girls, and I don't know. Then he mumbled a few other people, and how they are the like the foundation of our society. And I'm thinking, foundation? They're entertainers. I saw a really great one. I should put it up on the channel here. It says if I wanted to follow, if I wanted to listen to somebody that chases a ball really well, I would listen to my dog. I loved that. I thought it was so good. Yeah, I hear you. I'm right there with you, Giannis. We're not far apart when it comes to thought. That's for sure. Oh, we got the Federal Reserve this afternoon in the United States, which will be late evening for you. I guess like around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. It'll be, I guess it's 9 o'clock at night because it'll be released at 2 in the afternoon here, which makes it 9 o'clock where you're at. And I guess we'll have a little action there about their press conference and so forth. I have a hard time even just watching them half the time. It's bad enough. It's like, do your job. You know, make sure that the money supply is free and floating, and banks have enough equity. I don't need to hear your pickadillos, as we would say. I don't want to hear your picadillos. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that's what I was thinking about I was thinking about the way we're looking at the euro right here. Now let's see if we can see any characteristic like that in J4X. Well, we can see the purple line is buried down here. We see the incredibly inverse relationship. I don't know if that represents stagnation of internal statistics or what, but the white line is permeating strongly at the top of the range. This purple is at the bottom of its range, and these two are heading towards the top of the range. I don't see any real insight to that, but we'll see what they're doing there. I will just be doing my workout at the time. I usually just watch the aftermath after the storm. Exactly. From everything else I heard, I expect them to keep printing. Exactly. Exactly. What choice do they have, really? They don't have much of a choice. Especially, what's really giving them carte blanche to print is the fact that the government has shut down commerce, and it's a question mark if it's legal or illegal how they've shut it down. Over in Pennsylvania, the state next to us, the businesses and Republicans have been suing the governor and the government, saying that you don't have the right to shut this down. You have to let the politicians, the assembly and the Senate, to vote on it. It has to be voted on. And a judge finally came out and said they're right. You can't just declare martial. It's not even. That's the problem. Is he's not declaring martial law. He's threatening corporations that they have to close their doors. So, namely, listening to all the Fed hints before an event and then compare your source-based forecast with what happened. Exactly. Oh my God, Janos, you're reading my mind. Yeah, exactly. And we really do want. That's the problem with the media, is that the media reports really ridiculous stuff, and then after it's over with, no one goes back and looks how accurate they were. Instead, they just go report the next ridiculous thing, and it goes on and on. It's like Pravda in 1965 or something like that. It's over and over and over. It's like Pravda in Moscow, over and over. It's like I can't take it anymore. It's so absurd. So, but anyway, that's what I was seeing there this morning. I find that to be possibly fascinating. This tightening up of the place here. The histogram. I'm just curious out of it all. Let's take a look at cable. Let's see what the cable's doing out of all that. Cable, cable, cable. Right there. Now, cable has done the minus, which I don't understand why we don't have a pink line there. I thought we had one. We must have been flying through these things of late, just jumping around in subjects. like that. So it went into the sell, and now it's not in the buy yet. It is happy to hump day. We still have some time. This thing is through the buy number without a doubt now. Unfortunately, the histogram is or not the histogram. The histogram and the white line are still minus, so you can't get long. But it does say that something strong is coming up on it. Let's see. Yana says, well, at least Pravda went through a censorship that had some sort of making of sense. Yeah, at least they stayed on subject. That's the way I always looked at it. I used to see Pravda every day. And Pravda always had a theme, you know, subject. They stayed on theme really well. They stayed on message. Namely, the BS at least was believed to the average Ivan. Yes, indeed. Well, I'll tell you the truth. I'm not sure if... I think in the 60s and the 70s, especially in the 70s, I think that in the late 70s going into the 80s, and Ronald Reagan era, I don't think the regular Ivan anymore believed anything. I really don't. I think that they had given up on it. I think it was probably the age of the personal computer probably really separated things. But I agree with you. Before the late 70s, I think the average Ivan did believe it. What was it? There's a movie out. It's called 54, I think it is. And they're following these two policemen, or this detective in St. Petersburg or that area, and it's the 1950s, and at that point in time, the Soviet Union says we do not have crime, because we live in paradise, and they were referring to everything as paradise at that time, and so they had the serial killer who was killing young boys, and the head of the police department told the detective to stop looking because we are in paradise, and we don't have crime like that. Only the West has crime like that. So it was a really good film. Let's see, was that nah, they did not. I still have loads of them around my fraternity. It's at Ivan's? Yeah. The old members had their teens and early 20s in the 70s and 80s. Yeah. Yeah, so there's still, I guess there's some Ivans floating around. Yes, exactly. And I guess that's my hope. One day, not my hope. I think it's beyond hope. I don't have hope. I really believe that they're going to outgrow that over the next 10, 15 years. And I really compare 1990, basically, or 1988 to now, the last 32 years. I compare that to our 1776 to 1776 to our 1788, that 12-year period. I really do. I really compare it the same period, and I really believe that the Russian Federation is going to be a much more productive federation over the next 20 years or so. Grandpa was in the militia, and they investigated serious creepy crime, but kept their mouth shut. Yeah, about it, even to their colleagues. Homicide investigation was like a spec ops in regards to secrecy. Yes, this film is really well done with some really good actors. I think it's called 54. I'll try to hunt it down. People started to show better. Continue with pairs analysis. Okay, we got some bodies coming in here too. No time for loads of politics and history. Yep, I hear you there. So, but yeah, there's a good film out there. I think it was called 54 or 1954 or something like that. And it has some really big name actors in it. It's a really well done thing. It gives a real... They go through a mental institution situation and so forth, and detectives, and yeah, it's just got all good stuff. All right, so here you go. Here's the cable. Cable's starting to do the same thing as the euro, and that is we're seeing on the opposite side of it, though, on the negative side, where the histogram is really tight to the zero line, and we're just waiting now to see this try to lift up. So Let's drift over to Turkish Lira right there. And Turkish Lira moved into the daily buy yesterday. You can see it's holding up here firm today. It may have broken all-time highs again. Let's see, 49. What's that? 49.96. So yeah, it's another new all-time high. And so, but they're doing it in very small increments of 5 or 6 pips or something like that, 7, 8, 9 pips. And so you can see here, this thing has that drift. We're 40. Where's that at? Line 17 over on the spreadsheet. You see right, where's it at? Right over there. 41 days now in a weekly buy, 1 day in a daily buy, and we're seeing that pressure still today. There's not much you can say about the Turkish lira. It's just on a rampage in one direction and just refuses to let go. I guess it just keeps on reflecting the Prime Minister / President of Turkey and his policies. This product has gone from 1.5 to 7.5 over his tenure. So that's not exactly the most beautiful thing. All right, let's drift over to the Canadian. Let's see how the Canadian is looking. Right there, CAD. So you can see here, this thing's been in a sell for a while. And like that. We'll throw it up on the J4X here. Dollar CAD right there. And this product, the Canadian has been relatively docile. I maybe Trudeau is on vacation, so he doesn't have a chance to do a lot of goofy things. He does do goofy things at times. It's kind of funny. Funny guy. But right now, you can see it's trying to move back up. I mean, what was it? We went into the weekly sell here, and you can see the white line went underneath the time amount. It fell on the negative side for weeks. And what are we? That's line 20. And we are, what is that? Let me just look a little bit closer. 9 weeks now in a sell. And I imagine, as the world economy starts to open up, you would think that we would see, better, you would see the weaker dollar and the stronger pairs trades. That's the way I look at it. I really do. I really think that seems to be the nature of it all as the world opens up. All right, and they finally started reporting what we reported yesterday and the day before, is that the Japanese Prime Minister is actually changed. Would you believe our media didn't follow any of that? We saw nothing about the Japanese Prime Minister being ill, or I had to find it through the Telegraph and a couple of the smaller media companies in the United States, like the Washington Examiner and the Washington Times, and the rest of them really didn't mention anything at all. They're in that hate Trump mode for the last 3.5 years, and they're not now. They've got their pedal to the metal, basically. And so there he is with the Canadian, and that's getting also quiet. Also, look at that. Same thing there. All right, let's drift over to the Swiss. See what the Swiss is up to. And there is the Swiss. You can see the Swiss has got that downwardly pressure. And we're in a daily sell for a bunch of days here now. What's that, 5 full days? This is the 6th day now right there. You can see we are in the minus. And this is doing the same thing on the flip side as we see the euro doing on this side. You can see the histogram is tightening up to the line, but staying in the plus. And the Swiss Saltine against the dollar's pair trade is doing the opposite of that, hanging underneath. Now this is what is this? This is 16 weeks in a sell, and we've got euro 17 weeks in a buy. So they're pretty much mirror images of each other. What a quiet day. No questions yesterday or today. I find that really odd. No, I know what happened. Daniel came in later in the day, and we looked at was it Euro New Zealand, something we've never looked at before, which is really surprising. Yeah, Euro New Zealand. Yeah, that is a surprise. All right, so I'm sure something will happen. Somebody will pop in a little while, and we'll start seeing some questions again. Doc just took a sip of the water there, just to give the voice a little lubrication. At least I'm not chewing on peanuts today. And then what else we got going on here? Let's go take a look at the yen, as we talked about the prime minister. So there it is, right there, line five, number 5 there. You can see it's rolling over. It went into the sell here. It's been rolling down since, and you can see the weekly is dancing underneath after 2 weeks in a buy, which went basically nowhere, almost nowhere, because we've been, and you haven't been able to be in the buy because what's that? 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the 7th day. So literally the last couple of weeks since it went into the, let's see, there's the 8th, and so what is it? Yeah, so since the 8th, it goes into a weekly buy and goes right into a daily sell. And so it tells us not to trust this weekly buy for the last 2 weeks. So you can't get long because it's, you need both of these being analogous to each other or in sync, like the rock group. Rock group? Are they really a rock group? It's kind of like one of those singing groups. So that's the yen. Let's see what it looks like here. And there it is there, dollar yen. Working its way down. And so now where do we go from here? Let's head over to, we finish off at the yen. And then sometimes what we do is, we jump into, just kick something over. We jump over to, what is it? Sometimes we'll look at NASCAD Loonie, and the NASCAD gives us an insight to the action of the oil market. So let's do that. We haven't done that in a while. We've been busy. So let's just take a look at NASCAD this morning. There's right there. You can see the strength. I don't know how much it is. We'll find out in a few seconds. Yeah, it looks pretty good, doesn't it? And then let's go take a look at, let's see, so there's crude oil, 2 weeks in a sell. And NASCAD is right there. We're 5 weeks in a sell. So it's been heading down, well, oddly, isn't it? So let's go see what it looks like on our work here, where we went into the weekly sell. We'll get that mouse running right. There it is, right there. NASCAD, right there. So we went into the weekly sell here, and it went down for a couple weeks, and then it's turned up, and we've been in a buy ever since. Wow. No, wait a minute. So we went into a buy here, then we went into a sell, went into the buy here again. Let's steal this buy. Move it over like that. So we went into the buy there again. Then we went into the sell here. And now we are in a buy again right there. Oh, I see. We can leave that sell right there. No, that's a buy. Put it right there. And so you can see here we've been in a buy since here. And you can see we're just, now wait a second. How is that, what's that? Oh, that's 5 weeks in a sell. Okay. Yeah, so now we are climbing into the buy this week. Okay. And we've been in a buy since there. And we went into the sell here. So we've gone back up to where we went into the sell up in here. Because I guess we were in a, let's see, I guess we could say that we were in a sell since there? Right there. We went into the sell here. There we go. Really haven't looked at the relationship of the NASCAD and the oil in a while. And so, that's there. Now let's go take a look at crude oil and see the characteristic of it. Let's see. I guess we'll go like there. There we are. Now crude didn't do that. 5 weeks ago, crude held up and kept on pushing up at times. And this was a strange one here. I guess you got long here and it didn't do anything but go down after a while. It was days and days of unchanged, and then it fell apart finally here. Went into the sell here. I guess it's right there at the top. And then we finally got into a sell here, and then we had the full collapse because see how it was fighting it. And so you ended up even having a gap. That's not a change of contracts. That was just a flat out, we want to get out of this position. And so that was the action of it there. Now let's go back to that NASCAD and see if there's a relationship like that. Nah, not really. We went into a buy. That was about it. We did have like an outside day 7 days back. Is it 7 days back? Let's go back to that oil chart. Well, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7 days back. So on the NASCAD. So there's 2, 4, 6, 7. So there's a 7 there. So it wasn't much of an action there, but it did flip after a little while. And now you can see the weekly is trying to join in, which could mean obviously more buying in oil again. I heard that the drawdown yesterday was enormous, an enormous drawdown statistically. And then we have the big release tonight, this afternoon at this morning, 10:30 our time, which is what is that? 5:30, Lafayette time, something like that. Evening, 5:30 in the evening. So that'll be a move or two with the oil, but they're seeing big drawdown. I'm not sure what that really means in the end result. Obviously it means less supply, more demand. That's what that's representing. So and that's where we are with that. But that we usually follow the NASCAD with the oil, but we've been so busy, we haven't been doing that. And look how it's interesting to see how it stepped out of the program in a sense. Right here you can see that it's been really sloppy. We went into a weekly sell right around in here, and it just basically went down and then went up, and it's been really sloppy. It's been not a very it was a good sell at the beginning, and that's why I always say to take profits. Match stops and all the wonderful things. Stops work relatively well when it comes to cash currencies because there's a 24-hour market. Then the weekend comes and it gets all freaked out again. So it's not the easiest and best thing. Options obviously are the best hedge of all, and then after that, stops are just good for intraday events. And even then, I have my doubts, but because they can do a halt. I know that they don't halt currencies, but they do halts in stocks, and they can do halts in futures and commodities. So, you got to stop one, and all of a sudden they do a halt, but it doesn't hit your stop, and then when they finally reopen it, if it's counterproductive to your position, then sometimes your stops do nothing for you. That's why I always say, options, those 5 scary words, call, put, and strike price, premium, and expiration, all of those just intimidate almost everybody on the planet. Trader and non-trader alike. It's the scariest words in the financial universe. All right, let's jump over. We did look at oil, so let's just take a look at oil outright again, and we'll go from there. And there it is right there. You can see this thing is trying to lift up, and this is the second day of a buy. But we have that same situation as we have in the euro. Look how tight it got. When this histogram gets down to the zero line and it just plays the tightness to it, you get some wild action like that, and then it broke. So we're going to keep our eye on what this tight action means to some of the currencies here. See if it gives us a clarity and a direction, something, You know, I mean, like a Daniel or a 54. Is it 54? Oh my God, interesting. You know, we've had some other people. They never put the movie and him together. He's a Canadian now. Anyway, you know, we'll see what that comes up with. We'll follow the math, and the math will lead us. It will set us free. All right, let's jump over to gold. God, I saw the weirdest headline about gold, like how it was massively up this week. I'm like, what in they were talking about producers, and you know, there's Monday right there, and you know it, and there's Friday. All right, I can put up with that. Right, there's Friday, and it closed at 1947.90, and we're trading at 78. So 49 was it? Yeah, basically 48. Okay, so 48, and we're at 70. Where are we at right now? We're at we got a high of 80 today. I mean, that's $31. That's not exactly a massive move as far as I'm concerned. But there was a really good article about production, especially it was a really good silver article about silver and the use of it over the last 5,000 years and since 1900, what has been going on with it and so forth. And I thought that was a really, really good article. And but then this morning I saw a strange headline, and they were blaming. I'm trying to remember what they were blaming. They were blaming the strength in gold this week, and I'm thinking, I don't see any real strength in gold this week. I mean, it's firm, it's up, but aren't we in a daily sell even right now? Where's the spreadsheet say? Yeah, we're in a daily sell today, right there. And we're not even in a daily. Look at that. We can't even get into a daily buy with this alleged mass strength. I forget what they were blaming. They were blaming something. They were blaming something that didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. It was a social media thing. So, yeah, our social media has gotten a little wonky over the last 24 hours. So, there's gold going nowhere. Now, I think silver, let's take a look at it. There's silver. And silver is acting much stronger and better. And it's trying to come out of this 2-week sell. And then basically all the metals are doing that kind of dance. Let's go check it out. Like right here. Here is platinum, which is $1,000 discounted to gold. And, you know, it's been in a daily buy for a couple days since there. So going on a 4th day now. And you can see we've been in a weekly sell for 4 weeks, though. And it's still not even threatening the buy side of this yet. So the metals are having a hard issue of turning around. Now let's check out that palladium. I have a palladium customer, so we have palladium on the screen here. And there's December palladium. This thing is trying to press down today. Now the weekly is trying to turn up, and it's interesting. It turned down with platinum, but then look at all this hesitation thing going on. Again, one of those tight things with the time manifold and histogram there, the weekly signal. So the metals overall are not exactly exploding. So there was a quick run through. Oh, you know, we didn't do copper's the weirdest. I showed this yesterday. It's just weird, copper. It looks like it's trying to lose that right now. Copper's it's through the weekly now, closing a weekly last week, but we're in a daily sell since it's done that. So we're not, you know, it doesn't give you a long or a short. You're in a neutral at the moment. This thing's been going in and out, in and out. I mean, look at this movement up, and look at our math, you know, battling with it. First, it goes into the sell, and then right up in here after a couple of days in the sell, it jumps up, and this thing drops. Our math is dropping, which is so rare to see it off course like that. It did it here too. This product, you know, I used to say there was. I'm going to give you an analogy, and not analogy. I'm going to give you an example of a product I used to follow years ago. It was Goldman Sachs, the stock. And Goldman Sachs, the stock, traded like this sometimes. I mean, you know, like 50% of the time it did that. It would drive me crazy. I would follow it, And Goldman Sachs would not follow the math very well. I mean, it was like in the 60 percentile. It was really bad like this. This is like in the 60 percentile. This is really bad. I'm used to watching things with my math be up in the high 80s, low 90s, that type of thing. And Goldman Sachs, this is before Goldman Sachs became a bank. And Goldman Sachs used to trade like this, and we always accredited it with the people that were following my math, that every other stock was running really well, but Goldman Sachs was run by traders back then, and they were able to abuse their stock. So they were able to take it down when they wanted to take it down. They were able to bring it up when they wanted to bring it up, and so they could really manipulate their stock more than the average corporation. And then when they became a bank, all of a sudden it was fine. After decades of being wacky. And matter of fact, let's put one up there. Let's show you Goldman Sachs. And you'll see the difference now than then. Right there. There's Goldman Sachs. It goes into buy here, and you get into a buy there, and the product goes up, and it's nice. And you get into a sell here, the product goes down. You get into a buy here, it has a upwardly bias. It quickly goes into a sell here, it goes downwardly. You get a little whipsaw there, nothing major. You get that saber-tooth stuff going on. But overall, it follows the trend really nice. It gets into a sell here, and it goes down. You start to get the green dots, and you see it try to get into the buy in and outs a little bit, and then it catches the wave again. Pretty much in the 85, 86 percentile success rate. It gets into sell here, and the weeklies keep it cleaner. Even if look how tight it is. But right now, I would have to say that copper is the Goldman Sachs of the metals market. It seems like it's being manipulated on a really powerful level, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. And if you can see right there, and you see, it's caught some good moves. I mean, we saw it. Let's squeeze this up a little bit like that. Went into the weekly buy here, and every one of the buys had some nice advantages, like this one there, and this one here, and this one here, and then this one here. It had some nice runs. This one here caught a really interesting pop, and this one here caught a nice little run to the top here from there to there. It was nice, And then all of a sudden we went into this montage of just sloppiness at a maximum rate. I mean, we go into a buy here, and we're in a weekly sell there, so you can't take it. So you have to stand to the side because it's neutral. Then you go into a sell here, you try to take the short, and it goes the wrong direction. Then it tells you to stay away from the short here. It goes into another short here, and, nothing. Buckus. It's just upside down again. So I have noticed that the copper is a really poor product to trade. It really is. A lot of weird manipulation going on in the product itself. All right. Let's jump over to take a look at what we can do now is we can take a no one's asking any questions besides the Janos. So let's jump over to we did the metals. Let's take a look at the stock indices. Let's look at Dukascopy's Tech 100. Right there. We refer to this in the United States as the NASDAQ 100. This is the one that has the fangs in it and so forth. And so you can see here, it's been an interesting. It's in a weekly buy now, all the way up until it still survived the weekly buy last week. It's trying here. You can see it's trying to go into a sell, but it's not doing too good a job at it. We've been in a buy for 23 weeks. We just moved over to the December contract, so it's not collecting all the data of that, but that's where it went into a buy at the beginning of April. And you can see it tried to do this here and just seemed to be at the beginning of another leg up. So we'll see if this does the same thing. This histogram gets plus, and when this thing gets plus and they get out of a sell and get into a buy, will it be an explosion? And so that's something to definitely pay attention to, these stock indices like that. Especially with, I guess where we're at now. We're at September 16th, right? So 14. So we're looking at 40 some odd days, 48 days, 51 days to the election. So money's going to have a hard time walking away from the stock indices until that's over with. And so that's where we are right now. And you can see here, this nice little sell-off has just been a buying opportunity more than anything else. We just haven't gotten into, like today we are flirting with the daily buy number. But again, you know, the histogram is minus, but it's still in a weekly buy because the white line has not closed below in the zero line, and it's not the end of the week. So that's where we really are with that particular stock index. Now let's look at the S&P 500, which is, you know, like the global index itself. 49%, over 49, more than 49%, almost 50% of the stocks in it are foreign incorporated companies. And the other 50% are U.S. incorporated companies. So, you know, that's the strength of all that. We're not really seeing any what's the way to describe that? We're not really seeing any weakness in the S&P either. The S&P is acting strong. And you can see here, it did slide into a weekly sell last week, and now it's flirting with the weekly buy number and the daily buy number. But I still think, you know, we've got a couple of weeks to go. Now, let's see. Let's take a look at, we can show you, let's show you the Dow Jones Industrial Average right here. And you can see here, still in a weekly buy since the 7th, was that July? So 4 is April, 5 is May, June is 6, July. So since July, it's been in a buy. We got a new wave signal here where that line is. Let's see if we can do this. There we go. New wave signal there. And we've been in a sell since this slide here. And now we've broken the green dot, I think we talked about this a little bit yesterday, the green dot trend line. And it's trying to lift back up again. So we're seeing the strength there on that. And it's not backing away whatsoever. We'll see if they see if this is an ABC. This could have been an ABC here. More than likely, this is the A. This is the B. Now we're probably going to go one more time. You know, get a little more weakness. Try to take them down so they can really take them up after the election. Okay. Let's see. What other one can we look at? Is there a daily floating around of the oh, I know what it is. Yeah, the daily in the Russell 2000, which is well worth looking at. Let's see here. Let's see. Let's see, where's it at? Let's find the Russell. Let's take this. We'll turn this into the Russell. Well, actually, I guess what we need to do really is go over here. Where's it at? In the combo? Let's make a copy of this. And we're going to put the NASDAQ, I'm sorry, not the NASDAQ, the Russell in there. And the Russell showed some real strength this week, which is, you know, really surprising. There we go. And there is the Russell. And you see that also went into a weekly sell here last week. And let's see if we can tighten this up a little bit for you. You can see that the product is these are the highs. Now this thing is like Bitcoin in many ways. It's like I guess it's like 30 some odd percent off of its all-time highs. I think the all-time high is in the 19 to 2000 area. So this thing is trying. It went into a sell here, and then move this over. It went into a buy there. Is it one more over right there? And that sell was. So let's move that out of the way because this is that. There's the buy there. And so where's the sell right there? Sell there. I think it went in and out here. Like that. And that sell is way over there, like so. The Russell is trying to come back. It's showing some good life in it at the moment, and it looks like a nice base being built. Now, what? Oh, there we go. We got Montana West. Hey, Montana. I didn't see any email from you. It feels like the stock market will suffer losses today with the FOMC. Could. Anything's possible. Right now, it's not showing the best of strength. Let's put it that way. In our technical work, Let's see. West says it also feels like the dollar is set to make big gains today and this week. I don't know. You think big or just gains? But what do I know? I'm just a 2-bit trader. Everybody's got the right to say what they want, Montana. So that's fine with me. I've been wrong before once. Good. I like that. Only once? That's not bad. I've been wrong way more than once. No, I couldn't find your email address. Didn't you contact go through to Dukascopy and make me a friend, or go to Chicago Quant, and I think Robin said he had a hard time responding back to you. So your email address was no good. That's what the problem was there. Or just do, I don't know if I can get this on there. Let's see if I can get this on there. Here. We'll get this. Let's see, where's it at? Where am I at? What am I looking for here? Oh, I know it is the Dukascopy Webinars. Hold on a second. Let's see if we can find this for you. Trading, maybe? Dukascopy YouTube. Let's try that. We'll get you. Hold on a second. Hang tight. Once, only once. Hell, man, I can't tell you how many times I'm wrong. I'm wrong like a couple times out of 10 all the time. Let's see, YouTube. Let's see, Dukascopy. Let's try this. I don't know why this particular computer. I'm on another computer right now, so YouTube skip. I ended up with rock and roll music instead. Okay. Let's see, Dukascopy YouTube. Webinars. There we go. Tuning in myself. And let's see. There we go. You and Bitcoin were both asking, but Robin said that Chicago Quant wasn't able to go back to it or something like that. So there we go. All right. I get emails from Dukascopy if you try to become my friend in it. So that's one way to get a hold of me too. So, and then we can communicate somewhere along the line through there. All right, there we go. And we got Chicago Quant. That's always there. So just like Dukascopy, both. Speaking of which, I saw where was it UBS and Swiss Bank are looking at merging. That's kind of interesting. I haven't heard more about that. That's a good question. Let's see. I shut it off, so Let me see here. I can find. I don't think it won't let me. I got to go back to that again. Here, I'll put it. Robin, are you listening? Maybe you can paste it up there. Where am I at? I lost what I was just doing. History. Go back to history again. Right there. There it is. I'm going to get another commercial now. All right, hold on a second. It's almost there. Okay, there we go. And if I go like this, and I go like, where's it at? Right there. Just put a .com, HT, the whole bit, Yeah, there we go. So you have to put a .com at the end of it and HTTP // on the front of it. That should do it for you. Okay, there we go. So that's the answer to that one. Now, what else we got to say about that? Nothing more than that, I guess. Do you come on live here every weekday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yep, we do that I've been doing Dukascopy for a bunch of years now. A bunch of years. So now, what other question is there? Where am I at? I'm questioning me now. Yeah, we were looking at. You can see that. Well, I think I have to say, here's the S&P 500. You can see that right there. It's got a drift going on. The math is kind of cool. Nothing too exciting. Went into a weekly sell last week. It's trying to get into the buy there. So I mean, it's trying to show strength. We're trying to get into a daily buy here. Things are going to get a little nutso in the next 7 hours, is it? 5 hours? See, 4 hours and a half, something like that. 4.5 hours, things will get a little nutso again. So we'll see. Under 5, that's for sure. And you can see NASDAQ showing life in it also at the same time. All of it's showing life in it. They're all showing life in it. They're all happy. Everybody's happy. So, all right. I guess we'll call it a day. Try to come online. Oh, you mean you'll try to be here? That's great. Let's see. NASDAQ 100 is dropping dramatic right now. It is? Let's take a look at it. Here's the NASDAQ 100 in a 336 tick chart. So it's dropped from 11,480 to that's kind of background noisish, I mean, I would say that was more of a. I see. You could be looking from it here back 2 hours ago. Yeah, it's dropped from like 2-week highs all the way down to here, but nothing. This thing has the potential of making noise like that all the time. I mean, it's always look at a thing. The thing is a maniac. I mean, that thing is just flying all over the place all the time. So I agree. Yes, it did slide down from this. It's almost like the 3 peaks in a dome situation and the pattern. And now we've done a big A. This is a B. And then now we're doing the C, and it looks like it's trying to turn up. And you can see our intraday work right there. Went into the buy off of this big spike. And it's trying to move up again. You can see here where it goes into the minus from there and goes down. So kind of fun stuff there. Yeah, I don't follow times like that pattern-wise anymore. But a lot of people do still. I don't follow what I refer to as linear time. So I follow non-linear time. So one of my own inventions. Now here you go. Now look at it. It's breaking down right here. You can see it's trying to go into a sell. You can see the solid line is breaking down. You see the histogram is minus. Both histograms are minus. I'm running 2 histograms on this. and that needs to close there. And once that closes there, you got 88 ticks. You can see this thing is getting ready to go. So, all right, traders, we be out. Whoa, look at it! It didn't fall apart. Look at the solid line is still up and is rocking and rolling, and took a jab to the top. Can't anticipate that stuff. You got to let the math tell you. This thing looks like it wants to do a nice little pop up, and then it'll maybe now. Look at that. Now it's closed minus there, and let's see if we get some weakness out of it. It bounced right back up and trying to climb again. Lots of reds and greens. There we go. It's climbing hot, steady, and fast. But this is the opening too, and this is wild. This is where Europe and the world get involved with the New York Stock Exchange and the American equities. So that closed there. Let's see if it. So that's a close there. Let's see what it does here. I don't usually trade in this mess for another 5 or 6 minutes. Let this stuff play itself out. It's so fleeting. You can see the pressure is on, so you're going to get more pressure. Maybe they're going to take out this low in here. Let's see. We'll keep this going for a few more seconds, and then we'll jump for the day. What is nonlinear time? It's a topological time frame versus a fixed time frame. Okay, so he's jumped back up into the buy here, and now it's trying to lift up. And that's what nonlinear time versus linear time. In other words, you have fixed periods of time. Nothing disturbs them. Minutes, seconds, hours, days. They're all fixed packet, like a neighborhood. So in other words, if you look at it as a set theory, you have a fixed packet of time, and nothing disturbs it. In other words, it doesn't matter if in a nonlinear, you have influences that have an effect to define time itself. And what defines time is the accuracy of the results. And so when you look at nonlinear time, you're looking at results of outcomes that are accurate. So they're predicted from the nonlinear time, and they predict the future events to occur, and they're accurate. And so if they're inaccurate, then you have the wrong nonlinear time frame. Does that make any sense to you? Anyway, I got to get out of here. I got to figure out a title to this thing. What are we going to call today's webinar? I guess we didn't look at anything too exotic, so we'll have to figure something out here. All right, this is Doc from North America. Catch you all tomorrow. Tomorrow will be Thursday. Happy hump day to you today. So happy trails to you until we meet again. Me and my Roy Rogers fixation. Happy trails to you, to all my trading friends. Yep.